Hello everyone, I am back once again with another Wi-Fi match for Sword and Shield. This is going to be my week 6 match now, and my opponent for it is going to be CaliDude. Week 6 of the SDA League, by the way. Jeez, I forgot about that already. But yeah, so CaliDude. This guy is actually kind of interesting because let it be known that this guy was actually one of the commissioners for the CBDL League. The league that I actually did in Gen 7 and Gen 8. Because I actually did one season for each generation there. And yeah, he was actually the commissioner for it in Generation 7. And in fact, I was supposed to actually battle him in week 9 of that season. But he actually ended up like dropping out, and then he said he had like other things to do, and he just ended up disappearing completely because of it. Or at least that's what Cherry Mancake told me. But because of that, Cherry Mancake had to take over the league for a good while now. I don't know if he's back in it or not, but yeah, I do find it kind of interesting that despite him being out of the scene for a while, he's back even to this day playing Sword and Shield because, yeah, let it be known that this is my first match of the year in 2026. So, like, damn, we're both still playing Sword and Shield in 2026. That's kind of, like, insane work. That's actually a rarity these days where people actually go back to old games and play Wi-Fi matches. Because the only time people ever go back to old games for anything is usually for playthroughs, Nuzlocke, or shiny hunting, but they never really do Wi-Fi matches because the meta has always been updated and a lot of people like to keep up with the meta. And not to mention the new Pokemon that is introduced. But you know, for me, I can be a little picky with that kind of stuff, and even if there is new Pokemon, if the games are not good, obviously, trust me that I won't care too much about it. But anyways, enough of all that. Yeah, let it be known that unlike the last match where we went with the 20-minute timer yet again here we're going to actually try to do the friendly competitions method. And I'm actually kind of glad that I'm doing that because, as you can see, my opponent's team consists of a lot of bulkiness, and with a team like this, matches can only end in a stalemate with a 20-minute timer, and chances are that in worst case scenarios I'd probably lose one mon because of the inability to penetrate this team, and I'll lose just by that one mon alone, and that would just suck, obviously. So if anything, with the chess timer, at least my opponent can actually like waste his own time being funny with me and all that stuff, and he'll get punished for it by losing, because the game will say that he loses if his timer runs out before mine's. Goal here for me is to make my moves as fast as possible so that my timer doesn't run out, and my opponent can think all he wants and he'll probably be wasting his time. So anyway, nonetheless, this guy's team is scary because, again, it's a bulky team, and a lot of his mons have reliable recovery. So because of that, I actually couldn't make up my mind soon enough to decide a lead, and I was going to lead off with Sylveon, but unfortunately I didn't have time to select all of my mons. And what's funny is that despite me actually not selecting all of my mons, it seems like all of my mons were still selected. So that's actually kind of cool. So we don't have to start this match all over again, which was pretty cool, actually, I'll admit. But yeah, so anyways, consequently, because of what happened, I by default have to lead off with Garchomp. So yeah, now that this thing is out, I can actually go for a Stealth Rocks here, because seeing the Mew lead kind of tells me that maybe he wants to go for the Stealth Rocks. And even if he goes for the Ice Beam turn 1 or something, chances are that I'll switch out myself and he'll still get up his rocks. So yeah, no, I think here obviously going for the rocks is probably the play right here. So here I'm just waiting for what my opponent wants to do. Like I said before, he can definitely take all the time he wants, because if his timer runs out, he will lose, and I think he knows that, I want to believe. So yeah, he's thinking and thinking. I was kind of wondering if he himself wanted to set up the rocks himself, but yeah, I know I get them up, and you're going to see right now that he is definitely, and I mean definitely, going to go for the Ice Beam here. And unfortunately, I don't take it very well, because remember that Garchomp is quite weak to ice. So here, he's going to proc a Flame Orb, because at the time I thought that this was maybe a trick Mew, because I saw the Flame Orb and I thought maybe he'll just want to like trick the move, the item onto one of my physical mons like Scizor or Garchomp. But with Garchomp, you kind of just want to Ice Beam him away, so I guess, I don't know, he had something in mind. At least that's what I thought. But yeah, here I decided to switch out to Sylveon because I don't want to take another Ice Beam. I don't want to lose Garchomp to another Ice Beam. That would just suck, obviously. Especially because my Sylveon has Wish, and if his team is as bulky as I anticipate it to be, then chances are that I can maybe Wish Garchomp back to full health with the right turns and whatnot. A lot of his team is faster than my Sylveon too, so I can definitely get slow pivots into Garchomp with a Wish. So yeah, Here he goes for another Ice Beam. It gets a crit, which is a little annoying. But thankfully on Sylveon, that kind of doesn't matter. And seeing his team, it's bulky, sure, but I'm sure Sylveon can take a lot of the hits very, very well. So long as there isn't any para hacks involved, then we should be fine. He's going to go for the Mystical Fire now, which is good to know because, yeah, this is a move that... Like, I was considering sending in Scizor against this thing, but I wanted to know if it had a fire move, and it does, so now I know I can't send in Scizor. So while it is good to know, I'll admit that it is still pretty annoying that he has like a lot of coverage. But Mew is one of those mons that have all kinds of coverage in the world, so it is to be expected. I am going to send in Rotom here because I just want to see what other moves he can do. I resist Ice Beam and Mystical Fires, so I just wanted to see if he now has the Psychic move here. So I try to go for the Volt Switch just to see what he goes for, and in the process just switch into a matchup if it's not favorable for Rotom. He is going to go for the Energy Ball, which is annoying, but it's also good to know that he doesn't seem to have a Psychic move, because that last move has to be either U-turn for pivoting purposes, or the Stealth Rocks, which is what I was kind of anticipating as soon as I saw the Mew lead, or it could also be the Soft Boiled, which if so, that means that this Mew can't really do much, and if anything, Sylveon can kind of just play around this thing and just wish pass all day. I could go for Hyper Voices on this Mew, but it's not really in my interest because of the fact that he keeps going for Mystical Fire and it keeps dropping my special attacks, so that is a little annoying. I try to go for the Wish right here just to get full HP again, because as you can see, the Mew is chipping down my Sylveon little by little, and then if something like Zapdos comes in and just goes for a freaking Thunderbolts all day, he could just take out my Sylveon, and I don't want that. So here, I was debating on whether or not I should go for the Hyper Voice now that I got the Wish off, just to see what else he wants to do, because I still haven't seen what his last move was. Now I see it, and it is, in fact, the Soft Boiled. So again, this just gave me the idea that maybe I could like try to find a way to like heal my Garchomp. In fact, here I think I go for another Wish, I think, and then I try to do just that. I try to Wish pass into something. So I'm going to go for the Wish first right here. And I'm going to see what my opponent wants to do. Go for more Mystical Fires, lower my special attack even further, which is, yeah, annoying. But again, knowing what I'm going to do here, like, I shouldn't worry about that. Although, I'm going to be honest with you, I think here I might have actually baton passed with these -2s without realizing that I'm actually passing those stats as well to my other mons. But I'm not sure. I know that at some point I actually end up like just switching out like for like normally, but I think somewhere around here I might have actually baton passed even with the -2. In fact, here I am thinking of going for it right here, and I do go for it. So yeah, despite being at -2, I think it was with the special attack, I still baton pass the -2 either way. But obviously that doesn't really benefit my mons. And supposedly it doesn't count either if you actually baton pass stat like lowered stats basically. And I baton passed into Rotom, which could have benefited from a stat boost, but you know, stat boost is actually banned in this league. I forgot to mention that, by the way, that one of the reasons why I'm actually using baton pass in these matches is because in draft leagues it's not banned as long as you're not passing stats. Stat boosts in particular, because stat lowers, I don't think they really have much of a rule for that. I don't think it counts, and if it does count, then I probably should have lost for all intents and purposes, but they said that it didn't really matter, I think, so it is what it is. Regardless, here I send in Rotom now, because the Mew is getting kind of chipped down a little bit, and I wanted to go for the Hydro Pump right here, just to see how much damage it does. Chances are it goes for the Soft Boiled again, but I just wanted to see how much Hydro Pump does. If it does a decent amount, I could just stay here and just go for it a lot. Just to kind of pressure him to go for Soft Boileds a lot. In fact, knowing how bulky this Mew is, kind of makes me want to like apply that to the strategy now. Of just withering him down and just constantly forcing him to go for Soft Boileds. So that he just kind of runs out of them, because it seems like that's the game that we're going to be playing against this guy. Because yeah, this guy, I think he does like his damnest to play the lamest he could, honestly. In fact, this match could very well be boring right now because, yeah, this is kind of like the majority of this match. It's just dealing with this Mew, because this Mew just loves to lower my Sylveon special attack so that I can't do shit. And then he just goes for the soft-boiled again and just forces me to switch out every single time. So, yeah. Here, obviously, the leftovers and the burn. Thankfully, the timer doesn't count all of these animations, because if so, this match would have probably been over by now or something. Or halfway over or something. So, yeah. Here it goes for another Mystical Fire. Lowers my special attack yet again. I just go for another Wish to make sure that my Sylveon is healthier. And if not my Sylveon, something else on my team. Somewhere around here, I start to, like, find out a way to actually send in my Garchomp so that it heals. But right now my Sylveon is kind of crippled, so I think I do stay in and just go for another Hyper Voice, even if my special attack is lowered. It's gonna go for an Ice Beam as well. I'm guessing hoping for the freeze on my Sylveon, which, yeah, is kind of insane work. It does make me scared because RNG is quite dreadful with me in this game, or Generation for that matter. Because I think in Generation 8 as a whole it's starting to happen now, even in BDSP. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, leftovers and burn again, because reasons. Here I go for, I think, another Wish, just to be able to Wish pass into something. He's going to go for the soft boil, as I expected, because again, that's just how he rolls. And that's personally fine for me, because I think soft boil only has like 16 PP, so if he runs out of that, he won't be able to recover for long. I have Wish myself, and I think Wish also has 16. Yeah, it has 16 PP as well. So if I run out of Wishes, he should run out of soft boils at some point. He's going to go for another Mystical Fire because, yeah, lower special attack. There's not much I can say about this match, honestly, because the majority of this match is just a rinse and repeat, basically. I try to Baton Pass here regardless of the stat lowers, because I'm not even going to send in a special attacker anyway. I'm just sending in Garchomp to try to get some health back with this thing. In fact, the strat here is just to try to get my Garchomp back to full HP, because it seems like this Mew is just going to keep on doing this whole, like, soft boiling thing to death, and obviously I don't really got much to do here otherwise. I don't want to, like, give into this guy's shenanigans and just start throwing my mons. I already did that in the last match where I threw for no reason, so throwing against this guy was not in my interest, even if he plays as lame as possible. So yeah, I go back into Sylveon. Does a decent amount of damage because, I don't know. I guess the game likes it when I take a lot of damage. But again, it's nothing Sylveon can't handle. So because of that, I go for another Wish. And I think, again, I just stay in and just go for another Hyper Voice. Because it's either that or I try to maybe Baton Pass. But I think it's to keep Sylveon relatively healthy. Because Sylveon being as healthy as possible is kind of like important right now, because it's the only thing I feel on my team can handle the Mew, since none of its moves can hit Sylveon pretty hard, since none of it is a psychic move. Non-stab moves, which is worth noting about this Mew, can have all the coverage in the world, but if none of those moves are stabbed, then Sylveon can definitely take it. Especially if it's not super effective, like Iron Tail or something like that, or Iron Head, because that would have been nasty. So yeah, another Wish, burn, lefties, the usual shtick. I go for the Hyper Voice, as mentioned earlier, just to see what else he wants to do. Even if he goes for the soft boiled right here, I will at least be able to, again, constantly force him to keep going for more and more soft boils until he runs out of them. If he spends a lot of his time thinking, he will also lose too. Right now the odds are against him, I feel, even though we're both still, like, we still both have 6 mons. Like, I think here my strategy was actually clear this time. It was just simply to not give in to this guy, because I think a lot of his other opponents probably did, and because of that they ended up losing. So for me, I just wanted to keep on, like, sticking to my grounds. Goes for the Mystical Fire yet again, and here I think I'm gonna try to go for, like, another Wish. I think, yeah, another Wish. And I think because I'm healthier now with Sylveon, I think I'm gonna try to Baton Pass back into Garchomp so that it can be fully restored in HP. The Mew's still getting burned. Okay, it seems like I'm actually gonna... Oh, actually here, I was actually about to hard switch into Garchomp, but I was just like, wait a minute. I can just pivot. Remember that I can be slow with it. And this Mew most likely will go for Soft Boil at this point. and he does just that. So yeah, I almost choked right here in a way. Because if I hard switched in Garchomp and he just went for the Ice Beam for some reason, that would have been maybe curtains. I don't know. I didn't want to lose any of my mons if I didn't have to, obviously, because again, I might need it for when the moment comes when he starts getting all bulky with it, even though he already is, but I don't want to be at a deficit while he's being annoying and whatnot. So yeah. Now as you can see, my Garchomp is full of HP now, so now this thing is ready to kick some ass whenever it needs to be called out and whatnot. So here what I'm just going to do now is go back into Sylveon. I actually wanted to set up here, now that my Garchomp was fully healed, I actually did have another thing I wanted to do since this guy is still just being funny with me. And that was to actually try to get Conkeldurr in too, so that I can set him up for the Flame Orb, because my Conkeldurr does have Flame Orb, because I think it's a Guts variant. And I wanted it to, you know, just have that ready so that I wouldn't switch it in and not have the full power ready. So what I'm going to do here is actually go for another Wish. I think just to heal up Sylveon first and then switch in Conkeldurr. But yeah, I'm going to like try to just do that. And what I'm going to do after I get the Flame Orb up with Conkeldurr is actually just go for a knockoff. Because now that I know this thing's moveset, I don't have to worry about Psychic hitting Conkeldurr. And Conkeldurr can definitely take the other special attacks that he has relatively well because it's not stab on you. So that's all good and done. Jeez, I can't even talk. But it is what it is. Try to go for another Hyper Voice here just to see what he wants to do. Force him to go for more soft boils if possible. He is crippling me, so chances are I can go for another Wish yet again. Which again is kind of like boring. Oh no, I actually got the Wish here. Never mind, I'm being silly. I'm getting lost with this rinse and repeat. This is one of the reasons why this match is one of the more obnoxious matches. I don't like when matches go for this long. Especially because, I mean, the long matches, I usually like to live commentate them, but since, you know, I've been pretty lazy to do that lately, it's just, a lot of the time I just end up recording these raw. But because of that, there's so much I have to recall, which is kind of insane. And in a lot of this, I just get lost, so it is what it is. Here I go for Baton Pass, and I finally send in Conkeldurr, so that this thing can just, you know, do stuff. So here's something funny, and this is kind of where I low-key panicked a little bit. But yeah, here I do set up the freaking Flame Orb, but it's here where I realize that I don't even have the knockoff, but rather Poison Jab. I actually don't remember why I had the Poison Jab. It might have been for the Clefable though. But yeah, because I think I felt like the Mew might have been handled by Scissor, but then I remembered that Mews can get fire moves, so yeah. It was all kinds of like blunders for me here. So yeah, I think he feared the knockoff himself, and that's why he decided to go into Skarmory. But I ended up switching out myself because I didn't got anything for this. Like I could try to Poison Jab the Mew, but it wouldn't do anything because it's already burned. So it was just pointless keeping Conkeldurr there. I decided to just switch back into Sylveon just to, you know, keep Conkeldurr relatively healthy, because Conkeldurr will come in handy for the Miltank when it's need to be, because if that Miltank comes in and starts setting up curses, I can just hard switch in Conkeldurr and just go for Drain Punches boosted by Guts. And if he goes for Milk Drink, I can just keep forcing him to do that until he runs out of PP, and then he'll eventually go down, or at least be crippled enough to where something on my team can just finish it off. Particularly Raikou, because Curse will raise defense that nothing on my physical team can handle it at that point. So obviously it would have to be Raikou, who could just Thunderbolt the Miltank to death. Speaking of Raikou, I actually sent him out right here against the Skarmory because I didn't want to take a Brave Bird. So yeah, I was wondering if I should go for the Thunderbolt or should I go for Scald, but obviously I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt because not a whole lot on this team appreciates it after looking at it carefully. He is going to commit something of a blunder here, or maybe not, I don't know. But he's going to send in the Zapdos right here, and I don't know if he forgot that the rocks were up, but which would make sense considering he's been spending most of this game just soft boiling with Mew. So yeah, but in that front he would be a choke on his part. But yeah, I go for Thunderbolt, and as you can see, it's actually a 2-hit KO thanks to the rocks. It might have been a 2-hit KO even without the rocks though, truth be told, but I'm not really sure on that. So either way, I think my opponent got a little like thrown off guard right here, and because of that he is now going to switch out yet again and now go back into the Mew, which is thankfully also going to take rocks. See, this is why I wanted the rocks up, even if it meant taking an ice beam from the Mew. Because, yeah, switching around with this team was going to be inevitable. And it's nice to see him getting punished for all of his switch-ins. Especially considering how obnoxious and boring this play style is. But yeah, so I unfortunately am not able to take out this Mew here. I was hoping it would take him out so that he could stop soft boiling. But for me, I knew that from this point onwards, the only strat here really is just to keep going for Thunderbolt. Because remember what I said way earlier in this match, that the goal here was to just get this Mew to like waste all of its soft boiled, and that's exactly what he's doing right here. At some point he's gonna run out of these, and he's not gonna be able to do much afterwards, and a lot of my team can just finish it off from that point. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I think anybody else might have actually caved in here and tried to switch out and try to do something else, and that's where he would have had the advantage. So obviously I didn't want to give him that. So here I'm just going to keep going for Thunderbolts. If possible, even hope for crits, because crits can also help hasten the process here. And I wouldn't have to deal with this at all. Because even though the strategy is clear here, this is quite a drag, obviously. Like, it is kind of boring. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that wasn't the case. So here my opponent is thinking yet again, because he himself knows, I think he realizes now that he's kind of stuck here actually. Because if he switches out, he's just going to get Thunderbolted to the face. Nothing on his team appreciates it. Maybe the Miltank would, but I don't think he wants his Miltank fully crippled. Because he knows that I still have the Conkeldurr, so... Yeah, this guy's kind of trapped here, and I think he wants to just, like, PP stall me too, honestly. But again, I think he has all to lose, I think. Here, I'm just going to keep going for Thunderbolt, and... I think here is where I get the crit on him. Yeah. Here I get the crit, which I wanted to say doesn't matter, but it kind of matters because it hastens the process and I don't have to deal with his shenanigans here. So yeah, here he's now going to send in the Clefable, and this Clefable is still scary even though I got rid of his Mew finally, because this thing could also set up Calm Minds and then Soft Boiled and then Moonblast me and then Conkeldurr. I don't know if it'll outspeed Clefable. Probably not. So, yeah, it's scary. But if I do get to outspeed it, because I do think I invested some speed on the Conkeldurr to outspeed creep the Clefable, I could hit it with a Poison Jab, but then from there, I don't know, I'll probably, like, lose it afterwards. So here, I went for another Thunderbolt, and I think I got a crit yet again, so that was kind of funny, actually. And he just went for the Mystical Fire to lower my special attack, which kind of got me to wonder if I should even stay in to actually try to finish it off. But I ultimately did decide to just go for another Thunderbolt, because here's the thing, if I switch out right here, he's definitely going to go for the Soft Boiled. So I just had to take my chances here of possibly taking this thing out. I was nervous of this thing surviving because I did get -1 on the special attack from the Moonblast, so I was just kind of hoping maybe for another crit right here. But as you can see right here, no crit needed, so yeah, I just needed that one crit just to be able to prevent him from being like annoying with me, if anything. So this RNG, I guess you can say, does kind of matter, so it's actually pretty interesting that for once in my life in this dang game, RNG is actually coming a long way for me. He does send in this Miltank, which again is one of the scarier mons on his team because, again, this thing could just come in, set up curses, and start body slamming everything on my team. And that's something I do not want. So immediately I'm going to send in Conkeldurr right here. And actually take spikes, unfortunately. He is going to go for the body slam instead of the curse. So that's actually fine with me because I don't have to worry about paralysis. Because again, the Flame Orb, this is exactly why I wanted to set it up earlier. So I wouldn't have to worry about getting paralysis instead of my burn. So yeah. Because losing HP with the burn doesn't really matter to me because Conkeldurr has Drain Punch and can get its HP back. So yeah. Thankfully, this Mew does not, Miltank doesn't try to go for any curses, just goes for body slams, and I'm just going to get a nice Drain Punch off, which as you can see, this dang Miltank is so bulky that it eats up a Conkeldurr Drain Punch, which is insane work. Boosted by Guts, by the way, so it's like, holy damn. So this Miltank does have a red card for some reason. It does switch out my Conkeldurr, but my Conkeldurr doesn't have any, like, stat boost aside from the Flame Orb, which stays forever. So yeah, this is fine by me. Here he's he phases me into Scissor, and I just go for the Bullet Punch so that he does not go for Milk Drink, because again, this is another bulky mon with reliable recovery, and it's better to just get rid of these things as soon as possible. Here my opponent is going to send out, I believe, the Jellicent now, because he is running out of options. I don't even think he can send out the Scissor, not the Scissor, the freaking Zapdos, given how crippled that is. It could even go down to a Bullet Punch too. So I go for the knockoff right here. I am aware that it could have a Cobra Berry, but the point is just to cripple this thing so that it can be finished off by my Raikou later. In fact, looking at what he has left of his team, it does seem like Raikou just cleans up right here. And because of that, he's going to go for the Scald right here, and fortunately for him, he is going to get the burn. But it doesn't really matter, because what I'm going to do here is, again, a little bit of Tesla mousing here. I'm actually going to go for the U-turn right here with Scissor. And then after that, I'm going to send in the Rotom Wash and go for a Volt Switch. The reason why I went into Rotom Wash instead of the Raikou to finish off the Jellicent was because I wanted to not get burned by this Scald and possibly get hexed, obviously, afterwards. Like, on the off chance it survives the Thunderbolt for some reason. Because, again, Jellicents can be kind of bulky. And I wasn't sure if I could take it out from where it's at right now. So, yeah, I didn't want to take any chances. So, because of that, again, the Tesla mousing, Volt Switch right here. And, yeah, I finally made this strat work a little bit for once, because it's never been working in my previous matches. So, yeah. Now it's definitely crippled. So now I can just send in Raikou and just go for the kills now. Like, this thing now just basically cleans up from here onwards. Because the Zapdos is crippled, and the Skarmory just does not take a Thunderbolt from Raikou whatsoever. So, yeah, this match is pretty much over now. Thankfully, I win. I finally win my first match of the freaking season. Well, I was going to say my first match of the season, but that's not really true, because remember that I won my week 2. But this is the first match I win in the season that does not go to time. Because crap sling it, I've been losing a lot of matches and none of them win the time. And I've been winning matches, but they go to time. So it's like, damn. There's nothing more bittersweet than that for me personally. But as you can see, here comes the Zapdos, takes rocks damage, and it's just ready for me to just finish it off, basically. So, holy damn, just for sticking to my guns, I actually ended up winning this match. Granted, there was also some RNG that kind of helped, but I think it was more so for hastening the process. Although, I think in the Clefable crit, I think that one might have mattered, because that one could have actually still made the match kind of be all over the place. Might have run my Sylveon thin, and if it had Calm Mind, even worse. So, yeah, it is what it is. Here comes Skarmory now, and that's going to go down too. So, thankfully, yeah. This match, like I said before, not only do I win this match, but I also win it like 6-0-2. So this was like a very, very dominant win for me. Like, I had to literally outplay my opponent's like bulky strats and whatnot in order to win this, which was very nice to see. So yeah, thank goodness I actually chose to do the friendly competitions method for this match, because otherwise this match definitely goes to time. In fact, right now we're definitely over 20 minutes with this match, so I'm telling you, the chess timer is pretty good for these Wi-Fi matches in Sword and Shield. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, that's the match. Thankfully, we actually did win, finally. That means I don't quit this league. That means I can keep on battling until the end of the season, hopefully. But yeah, only time will tell on that front. So again, if you watched this match, thank you for watching as always. Hope to catch you fellas for the next match whenever we get to it. But for now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.